Hey, it's me, SK Nicholas, author of A Journal for Damn Lovers, volumes 1 and 2, and the third one, which will be out later in the year. I'll mention that, talk about that in a little bit. So, yeah, in the last video I made sort of a few weeks ago now, I discussed how I was going to be working on a novel, a fiction novel called. A fiction novel called The Lovers, which was going to be about it was going to focus on the dynamics of the relationship between these two lovers. And at the time, I kind of said that I was going to blog what I was working on in that novel. I was going to sort of write the novel, take that and put it on the blog, share it on social media, and how I wouldn't be sort of blogging in the traditional sense, and how there was going to be no volume 4 of A Journal for Damn Lovers. So sort of things have kind of progressed in a sense. There won't be a journal 4. There won't be a fourth journal for Damn Lovers, and I'm still working. Will be working on that novel, The Lovers. But I've sort of developed it because I was thinking about, me working on this novel and basically just blogging what I was doing. And I didn't really like the thought of that. I genuinely didn't like the idea of working on a novel and sharing everything. I didn't feel like that was the best way to sort of go. Um, I really wanted to be able to sort of work on this novel in private, in a sense, and just kind of lose myself and not have to worry about constantly sort of stopping and editing it and sharing it. So then I thought, well, so I'll do the novel in private, as it were, but I'll keep on blogging. But one of the things I thought was felt was, well, I don't just want to keep blogging as usual. I don't just want to keep doing the same sort of thing. So sitting down every kind of evening and thinking, right, what do I blog about today? Do I blog about childhood? Do I blog about a relationship, etc., etc.? I wanted to kind of raise the bar a little bit. So one thing I've decided to do, and I have been doing it for pretty much the past week as of making this video, is I want to have these two projects, these two sort of novels on the go. One novel, obviously The Lovers, which will be what I'll do in private. I probably won't share that much of it, maybe the odd bit here and there. The other novel is essentially going to be comprised of blog pieces, kind of in the same way that the journals were, but I'm going to kind of try and raise the bar a little bit. So this next project, I don't have a title yet for what this book will be called, but it will be fiction. It won't be like the journals, which were kind of like, I classified those on Amazon as personal memoirs. Um, this will be fiction, taken from obviously experiences, real life, etc., etc. But it's fiction, and so far I've written. Pardon me, I'm resting my laptop. How unprofessional on my book, which is where I write all of the pieces I've written. So far, I've written Chewits, Not Very Hip, Child of God, Walk Express, and The Night Rises. So those 5 pieces so far will be well, providing I sort of don't edit them out, but they will be the first 5 pieces in this new. Look at that! Look how wonky that is. Is that better? Sort of better. Dreadful. So those 5 pieces will be the first 5 pieces of this new project. Again, it's untitled. I want to come up with a title soon. I like having a title to, just so I can sort of mention it like this, and obviously if I mention it on social media. Um, so the difference is so far is when I've approached these blogs, these first 5 blogs, I've approached it with a going forwards. Each piece is kind of linked to the next. And again, I'm focusing on these two lovers, but individually. So the novel, The Lovers, will be about again, these two lovers as a unit, how they work together, about their dance in a sense. The other project will be focusing on them individually. So far in those five pieces, one piece was Child of God, the female driving her car and sort of having to stop because she sort of burst into tears. There's another piece I wrote. It was called Not Very Hip, which was where the male, essentially me, is kind of walking around, and he goes into this coffee shop. He gets his bits and pieces and he goes back home. I want to focus on these two individuals but separately, and I think that that would be quite exciting to do, to kind of have a different approach. I want these two projects to I want to bounce between them, and I want them to be different. I don't want to be sort of doing two things which are too similar. So when it comes to working on the novel in private, it'll be these two lovers in their dance, how we follow them through life, and it's about how they act together. And the project that I'll be blogging will be about the two lovers individually. So it's a kind of it's not radically different from pre-existing blogs that I've done, that I've put towards the journals, and obviously the third journal that I'm in the process of editing. It's not a million miles away from that, but I think for me it's different enough so that I feel like I'm raising that bar. So instead of me sitting down in an evening and kind of thinking, shit, what do I do? What do I blog about? I can see the pieces that I've already written, and I can say, okay, this is where I'm at. So, for example, one piece I wrote was called, the last piece I wrote was called, fuck, I've forgotten, The Night Rises. And it's basically where, again, the male, but me, because it's kind of like my alter ego, and the female is the muse, essentially her alter ego. So I'm out, and I'm in this pub, and it's about me being a bit drunken, and then me sort of stumbling home, sort of contemplating, where I'm at in terms of my writing and where I'm at in life. Immediately following that, I've written two sort of pieces, which are individual pieces, but I'll probably blog them as a pair. The first little piece is the next day, and it's basically me waking up, and it's me having some shitty breakfast. And then the next piece is the muse, it's the female waking up, and it's about, again, these two lovers going through life, but we never see them interact. Is it someone's banging their car door? Cunts. So again, I've lost my train of thought. So yeah, I want to see them individually. It's the same lovers, but it's not necessarily like, oh, before they got together, after they got together. It's almost like a parallel universe, if you want. So I really like this. I really like the fact that I can do these two scenes, and then after that I can kind of think, right. So we're in the morning. So potentially, do I follow the female? Do I follow her through the day? Do I follow the guy through the day? Do I have a piece where I talk about them both, but again, we never see them sort of come together? So basically, it means that every time I sit down to blog now, every time I sit down and work on this project, I'm not thinking, shit, what do I do? Do I blog about that relationship? Do I blog about my childhood? Do I blog about uni? Now I've got that sort of forward momentum, and that's what I was really looking for. Um, Having kind of finished writing the original pieces for the third journal, I really wanted to move away from me just sitting down thinking, what do I do? What do I write tonight? I wanted forward momentum. So I haven't started working on the novel yet. I think essentially I'm going to take a few more weeks, because this project, in terms of the two lovers but individually, it's a natural progression. It's a natural progression of my mouth's really dry. I had a fry up and afterwards I rinsed my mouth out with Listerine mouthwash, and it's made my mouth really dry. It's awful, but it takes away the taste of death. So yeah, I haven't worked on the novel yet because essentially I want the novel to The Lovers. I want that to have a certain feel to it. I want it to feel different from, the other piece. Again, I need to think of a title. I can't just keep on referring it to that sort of piece, the other piece of that one. So I want it to sort of feel different. I want it to feel like it's its own thing. So I'm leaving that for a couple of weeks, and I want to be in a position where I can sort of just naturally go into that. And again, it's out the way. I'm not sharing it. I don't have to sort of come up with the goods straight away. So yeah, the Lovers I will start working on soon. But this, in terms of going forwards, in terms of blogging, I'm excited by it. Again, I think that it's this project. It's a natural evolution of the journals. So again, talking of the journals, talking of the third journal, I'm editing the third journal, of a journal for damn lovers. The third volume, sorry, the third volume of a journal for damn lovers. Um, Essentially, I've got it down to about 92,000 words. I started off and I had about 130, 135,000 words of original blog pieces written between sort of March of 2017 and March of 2018. So those kind of 13 months. Um, so yeah, I had about 130, 135,000 words, and I've just finished the third journal. Fuck's sake, I finished the third draft, and I've got it down to 92,000 words. And ultimately, the plan is to get it into about 85, which is where the first and the second journals were. They came in for about 85,000 words. So, oh, my mouth is so dry. I have to really make this video again, but I can't be bothered. So editing's going well with that. I'm going through, I've written a lot of heartfelt pieces. I've written a lot of pieces about these two lovers, obviously, based on personal experience, memories. And again, I think in terms of what the third journal will be, the first journal was about fledgling footsteps. The second journal, bubbles of time and space. I think the third journal will be kind of a mixture. It's a mixture. It focuses a lot on the muse, but again, it's about past, it's about the present. I just think it raises the bar in a sense. But so yeah, I'm pleased with that. Hopefully, it'll come in for about sort of October. No, hopefully earlier. Hopefully, it'll come in a bit earlier because I started about sort of several weeks before I intended to. So hopefully, the third volume will come out, let's say provisionally September. So sort of where are we? April, May, June, July, August, September. I've still got like a good 5 or 6 months. Month. So yeah, so hopefully the third volume will be there. And again, I will have these two projects. Initially, I only thought it would be one, but now I've got these two projects going forward. And again, I just feel like it's all about sort of improving. It's all about sort of improving my voice. And it's about sort of doing something that hopefully just again raises the bar that little bit more. Same themes, love, loss, relationships, sex, sort of being on the outside. It's the same themes, but it's hopefully just a bit more intense. I think the writing, I think that I'm continuing to develop as a writer. And that's what it's about, isn't it? It's not about kind of saying, right now I'm working on these and I want to be published and I want da da da. I just want to concentrate on becoming a better writer. So yeah, that's where I'm at the minute. I need to think of a title really for the blogging sort of project. I'll have to kind of have a look. I'll have to look at like some song titles, go through my phone, or just kind of look at maybe some sort of Bukowski's poetry and maybe just pick a title from there, something that resonates. The Lovers makes sense because it's a book about two lovers. So to call it The Lovers, it does what it says on the tin. And every time I think about that novel, I just immediately know what I'm aiming for. With the blog piece book, again, I just want something that kind of resonates. I want something that sums up the fact that I'm focusing on these two lovers, but as individuals, not as a unit. So yeah, hopefully I can give some thought to that. So yeah, I'm SK. With dry mouth. I had a haircut yesterday. Did it myself. I forgot to sort of trim these little bits here, but it's okay. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. So yeah, just got back from work a little while ago. I'll probably edit the piece that I did yesterday again, the sort of the two pieces of when the male and the female sort of wake up. The males is him waking up again. It's based on personal experience. It is my alter ego, as well as the female being the alter ego of the muse. But yeah, so it's fiction though. It's fiction. So I'm not going to suddenly start writing about my memories of, Monty and stuff like that. I want that's in the journals from now on. It's again still when it's still me as such, but I want there to be that. I want to differentiate between the journals and sort of going forward this blogging piece, which I need to find a title with because I don't want to keep on referring to it as this blogging piece. So yeah, it's my memory, quite a sort of a mundane memory, but I think again you need to include the mundane because the mundane can be quite interesting. When I was at uni, specifically when I was studying at Reading University, I was living in Wickham. I lived above a chemist in this flat with three chaps, Ben, Ron, and Taff. And Ben and Ron, I went to uni with. And then when I was at Reading, they were doing their second and third years at Wickham Uni, and a guy called Taff, who was a friend of Ben's. So all four of us were living in this place, and we didn't obviously have that much money. And when I would go home to see my parents, my dad would kind of fill up these. He'd give me like care packages. He'd fill up two sort of plastic bags for worth of food, and it was all kind of like junk food or whatever, but it was food. And he used to get me these tins of like all day breakfasts. And so basically this tin used to come and it had beans in, and it had like a little burger and little sausages and some little weird kind of omelette thing, dreadfully bad for you, not nutritious in any way. But it was one of those things. I'd sort of wake up on maybe like a day off when I weren't going into uni, and I'd be really hungry and I wouldn't have any money, and I'd open the kitchen cupboard, all day breakfast, and I'd be like, fuck, I'm saved. I always also remember those were the days when I wouldn't have any money. I'd be waiting to get paid. This is when I was working at the bookshop as well. And I'd look around and I'd find like 2 quid, and I'd go over to the store across the road, and I'd basically get a red. And instead of doing what maybe would be sensible, which was to get maybe like a loaf of bread, some butter, maybe some vegetables, I'd get a Red Bull and a packet of crisps, maybe a newspaper as well. So yeah, very unhealthy. I haven't really improved that much. But yeah, I just thought I'd write this little piece about my character waking up and having this all day breakfast, this trashy, horrible food. And the female, she's waking up and it's more about her kind of struggle. It's that struggle of waking up. Again, very kind of mundane in a sense, but I think it's those little moments that really stand out. From there on, where do I go? Again, do I focus on her? Do I focus on him? It's a nice position to be in, and I still don't know what I'm going to write, but at least I know where I've come from. It's not like the blogs where I'd be thinking, well, yesterday I wrote about a childhood memory, or I wrote about an incident that happened at uni, or I wrote about a memory of me and the muse. Now where do I go? And me sitting down thinking, shit, what do I write? At least now I have that template. I can look behind me and say, okay, I've done that. Now I'm going to go here. So yeah, going forwards, it's about having a lot more structure. So yeah, I'm SK. 1 minute left. Today's a Tuesday. I'll probably put this up on a Wednesday, all being well. And there's probably other stuff I meant to say, but I've forgotten. I tend to forget. I don't know. Yeah. So at the minute, I'm editing the third journal. It's going well, and I think of a title. Got to think of a title for this future blogging piece. And again, these two, the lovers and the blogging piece. Hopefully, I'll get them finished in next year. So if I publish the third journal in September of this year, next year, I want to have hopefully 2 books that I'm going to publish. If they're good enough, I might try and take them to an agent and say, hey, what do you think? If I feel that they aren't potentially quite where I want them to be, I self-publish. I don't see that as being a defeat in any way. Again, it's all about trying to become a better writer. So yeah, I'm SK Nicholas. Hope you're doing well. Um, it's grey. I think so far this year in England, I can remember one day of sunshine, and even then it was cold. I mean, normally in sort of the middle of April, we've at least had a few days where it's been warm, but so far nothing. Literally, it's grey. It's miserable. I prefer it when it rains and when it pisses it down. At least it's doing something. But when it's just grey, it's like fuck. It's like being in limbo, sort of Silent Hill. So yeah, I'm SK Nicholas. Just to sign off, reading this book again. It's a really good book. I'm really taking a lot from it. Gyro Playboy by Michael Smith. So yeah, there's a picture of him just there. Uh, so yeah, have a good one. Be kind to animals.